Hello everyone and welcome to the Carcode YouTube channel. If you're new here, please make sure to hit subscribe down below for all the latest new car content. Today I'm very excited to be checking out this. This is the all-electric Kia EV3, a very highly anticipated vehicle, and it's won so many awards I'll pop some up on the screen. So a huge thanks to Kia UK for lending me this GT Line S model for the week. Now this car starts at £33,000 and it's going up against many rivals. It's designed to tick a lot of boxes. Let's start with the exterior design of this new car because, as you can see, it's pretty striking, especially in this pistachio green. You can see from the outside, the EV3 basically looks like a shrunken down EV9. So you've got that really boxy SUV look, which looks great. It's also got similar underpinnings with the eGMP platform, which is used by a lot of the Hyundai group with Genesis vehicles like the GV60, the Ioniq 5 and many others. However, this one runs on 400 volt architecture rather than the 800 volt you get on the EV6 and the EV9 vehicles. That means it doesn't have as fast charging capability, but it does mean it's available at a more affordable cost, and of course a smaller car. It reminds me a little bit of a pig, a little cute pig, especially in the orange colour. I do quite like it. Maybe not the sharpest looking, there is some more sleek, sharper looking, but it does have this smooth shape which definitely helps with its aerodynamics. You've also got these nice signature LED daytime running lights, which I really like, and then these little dotted lights, which again, like in the Hyundai Ioniq 9, these really remind me of Calac. Not the whole car, just this element. I'll show you closer. You can see how cool they are. You'll see as well on GT Line and GT Line S, this is all in gloss black, which has a much more dynamic look. This is more sleeker, sportier. You can see you've got your front sensors there standard, and then on this GT Line S, you've got your front camera as you've got the 360 cameras on the vehicle. There's 5 different colours to choose from on the EV3 depending on which trim you go for. We'll start off with the standard Air model. As standard, that vehicle comes in the sunset orange, which really does stand out. It's sort of a terracotta-y orange colour, and I do quite like that. If you want a metallic paintwork, they're all £625. There's a couple of exclusive colours to Air. That is the frost blue metallic. You would have seen that on adverts for the vehicle. Quite nice. You can only get that on the Air model. Also exclusive to the Air is the lithium silver, which isn't actually far off this pistachio green on the GT Line models. So I really like those colours. Then you've also got pearl white available, and also midnight black if you want a more sleek look on the car. Going up to GT Line and GT Line S, as standard, again it's sunset orange, which looks even better on these sportier models. I love how that looks. And then you've got 2 exclusive colours. That's your pistachio green, which is this one, something a little bit different, and also the shale grey. Normally I'm not a big dark grey fan, but I actually think it looks really great on the EV3. With these gloss black sections, it contrasts and looks really quite nice. Then of course you've also got the pearl white and midnight black, last but not least. So plenty of colour options. Kia have got something for everyone there, whether you want something funky with orange, blue or green, or you want something more understated with a grey, silver, black or white. They've got everyone covered, which is really nice to see. Wheels on the EV3 range from 17 to 19 inches. As standard on the Air model, you get these 17-inch diamond cut alloy wheels. These look quite nice and do suit the vehicle. They look a bit small for the car. However, you do get a really chunky, decent sidewall, so you have a really smooth driving experience. Going up to GT Line and GT Line S, you get these 19-inch gloss black alloy wheels with the square within the circle design, which is quite unique and quite interesting. I guess Kia have tried to reinvent the wheel, as it were, and it looks really quite good. I wasn't sure at first, especially online, the configurator doesn't do it justice, but in real life these are some stunning wheels and are bound to turn heads. They look a lot bigger than they are. They're 19 inches but still give a decent chunky sidewall, which is great. They're comfortable and not too loud. You may have seen on adverts etc. there's some 19-inch silver alloy wheels. Those are available as an accessory. They're around £1,200. However, I think these standard wheels are pretty good, but these 19s definitely look the best. From a bit further away as well, with the wheels, you really do see the square within circle design. It's quite different and not something we've seen from many manufacturers before, and I quite like it. It's kind of cool. To the rear of the EV3, the boxy aesthetic continues with the gloss black bumpers as well on these sporty models, which I think looks really nice and sleek. You've got these downward turn lights, which is nice change from the light bar that we see on pretty much every single car around nowadays. And then you've got the large Kia badge in pride of place there, which looks great. EV3 just there and GT Line just there. You'll see the rear sensors, they are standard as are front sensors. And you've also got a very clever rear wiper, which is hidden, which is great. I'll show you that now. Here we go. That wipes most of the rear window just like the Sportage and stays nicely tucked out the way, which looks really great. I also like the pop-out door handles, which are really ergonomic. You go up to the car and they pop out. It's exactly the same as what you'd get on the Genesis GV60, which I love. So it gives you a really easy handles to grab and then shuts flush with the body for a sleeker look and more aerodynamic as well. And also I really like the rear concealed door handles in gloss black. So it has that 3-door look with 5-door practicality, which is excellent. The indicators are also super clear and impactful, so you have the nice daytime running light signature, which I mentioned, but then also really great indicators. I'll show you the rear ones as well because they're really good. Probably some of the clearest I've seen recently, which is excellent. They don't get lost whatsoever. You can see very bright and clear. And also I'll just jump in now and put the brakes on, because I've seen in quite a few recent cars when you brake and indicate you can't see the indicators, especially a lot of Volkswagens. So you should be able to see there that even with the brake lights on, these were super clear, which is just a nice safety feature and a big step up from Kia, which used to always have the indicators about down here. So I think it's fair to say on the outside, the Kia EV3 is a pretty handsome looking vehicle, but how is it inside? So let's take a look. Inside the EV3, it is a pretty nice experience. It's a bit different. You feel a bit futuristic in this car. I really love this steering wheel on the GT Line and GT Line S. On the Air model, it's a little bit boring, a little bit basic, not quite as fancy as how this looks. This looks really great, especially with the light colour. And then the same with these seats with the light upper and grey lower. These are actually standard across GT Line and GT Line S, and it looks really nice. This is leatherette, so it's all sustainable materials. However, it doesn't get hot and sweaty in the summer on this GT Line S because you've got ventilated cooling seats that cool through the little holes, and in the winter it doesn't get cold either because you put your heated seats on. Best of both worlds. These headrests are insanely comfortable. They're like really springy. They're like an Olympic trampoline. They're like a nice woven fabric. I don't know why more manufacturers don't do this. It's so comfortable. On the Air models you just get normal fabric seats, which don't look quite as good as these. They do have some nice little blue accents on them though, just to add a bit of spice to them, which looks nice. But these GT Line and GT Line S seats are really lovely. Now you've got this tray table section on the GT Line models as well, so that pulls out like so to give you a bit of space. You can use it for your laptop or whatever. It doesn't tilt towards the passenger or the driver, which would be nice. And then you've got the armrest. Lift that up, it doesn't really reveal anything, but you can push that forward and it does lock into place like so, so it's a bit sturdier. And then you've got your buttons on there for parking sensors, cameras, auto hold as well. Wireless phone charger as well on the higher specs, which is great. On the sporty models, you get this nice fabric section on the dash. Some harder plastic but textured so it doesn't look too bad. You don't touch there anyway. And then this chrome like trim. It is really nice, and I like the lighter areas in the vehicle just to make it a bit brighter. Volkswagen did this with the start of the ID3 with the lighter ambience, but this is kind of the best of both worlds again, because you've got the dark and the light, which keeps everyone happy. It's a really good balance. You do have this dark headlining. However, on a GT Line S, you get the sunroof, which does open, which we're seeing more on electric cars now. Whoa, that is bright. The sunroof is a really good feature. It doesn't go all the way back. It's just like for the front passengers, but I think it's really quite cool. Nice little feature. However, it would be nice to have a separate button for the shade, because the shade just thinks it wants to come over when you don't want it to. These handles are nice though, easy to open. It's all quite ergonomic, as are all the buttons. I like it. This is actually the lowest the seat goes where I am now. If you like a sportier position, you'll want something lower down, because this is actually quite high up, but it is meant to be an SUV, so that's why. Some extra features on GT Line S include the sunroof, ventilated cooling seats, electric passenger seat. It also gives you the Harman Kardon sound system on this model, which is a really nice feature to have. You do also have the heads-up display on GT Line S. That's another nice feature, because you have the speed in the middle essentially, which is great. It tells you lane assist, it tells you the speed limit on the road. So it gives you quite a few extras on the GT Line S, but you do pay for those quite a bit. But lots of things are standard, such as this screen setup, which I'll go through now. Triple screens, I suppose you could say, because you've got this 5.3-inch climate display in here. If you press plus, it does bring up climate onto here. You can also select driver only, so it'll only give the driver climate control, which is excellent. Most of the time it's just me in the car. That'll save range if you like, so that's really great. It's a little bit hidden by the steering wheel, which is a little bit annoying. They could have just moved that over like like literally over like a centimetre would have made a big difference, but I do like the fact that you've got those shortcuts there. And also these ones here, you can up or down the climate very easily with those ones. Go through the modes there as well of where you want the airflow to be, or you can press it as well and it goes through the airflow modes there. Fan speed as well, and then the passenger temperature there as well. Volume controller here, which is quite cool, little wheel, I like that. Wireless Android Auto, wireless CarPlay as well, which is really nice. Great feature to have, nice that they're integrating that in. The actual system itself is really fast and responsive, excellent, just like what you get on the Genesis products, which I really like. Unfortunately, unlike the Genesis, you don't have like a rotary controller to control all the screens. I would have loved to see that on the EV3, but unfortunately it's all touchscreen. Another unfortunate thing is it is facing away from the driver. It's very slight, so it feels kind of more central, but it is facing towards the left-hand drive. They've not changed it over, unfortunately. You've also got the Kia Connect app, which is actually really very good for an app. Lots of functionality. You can schedule charging, which I tried and it worked perfectly, which is quite rare. You might know on other electric vehicles or other vehicles with apps, they can be really glitchy, they can be really annoying, but the Kia app, they've just hit the nail on the head. With tech in general, they do a great job. You can also schedule your climate as well, condition the car for temperature. You can also see where the car is and set things up. You can precondition the battery. It'll tell you your trip and your efficiency. So that is really good. There's a lot of functionality and that's free with the car as well. So that's all really good. You've got ambient lighting on this vehicle, which you can change. We're on Refreshing Sea, the colour, which is really nice blue. You can have it on Peaceful Forest, which is more greeny, matching the Pistachio Green. Blue Flight. You can literally change it to any colour you want. Let's do a little Carcode orange colour. So you can kind of change it to how you like, which is really quite cool. All your ventilated seats and controls are on the doors, which is really easy to control as well. Memory seats on this GT Line S. All the physical buttons, which is great. This is your drive selector. I don't normally like the column ones, but I'm getting used to the ones on the Hyundai and Kia group vehicles. The position down here is quite good because you don't actually mix it up here, whereas on the Renault 5, which was up here, that is very easy to mistake for an indicator or wiper. Same with the Mercedes vehicles, they're in a bit of a silly place. This is quite separate and it's a different action. You're twisting it like a Volkswagen vehicle rather than pushing it up or down. So that is actually really good, and this is how you turn the vehicle on or off. You've got drive modes there and it'll just come up there what you change it to. Eco, normal, sport, my drive and snow. So I'll pop it into my drive, there we go, and it changes the range accordingly. It also tells you on there what your min and your max range is, which is great. I'll show you the cameras as well on this GT Line S. You can see exactly what you need to on the vehicle. You can see behind, you can see in front, you can scan around the car if you need to see anything. So that's really useful as well, both sides. There we go. This is my favorite feature on 360 cameras, is the both sides feature. If you're going for a width restriction or a tight space, this is so handy to have. It's really great. Now it's time to drive the EV3. I have been driving this for about 200 miles now and have averaged 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour, which isn't bad at all. It's a really nice smooth acceleration. I'm not flooring it to the ground, but you have that nice instant torque, obviously, in an EV. They got 201 brake horsepower to the front wheels. That means a 0 to 62 time of 7.7 seconds on this long range and 7.5 on the standard range model. And how far will an EV3 get you on a singular charge? Well, the standard range 270 miles combined, and then the long range up to 375 miles if you go for the Air model with the smaller wheels. It's 367 for the GT line, 362 for the GT Line S because you've got extra weight for the sunroof, ventilated seats, etc. and 361 for the GT Line S with heat pump. So I think they've just done the calculation with the added weight of a heat pump, but of course the heat pump in real world will give you more range in the winter time. Taking the excess heat from the powertrain to heat the cabin definitely helps. And unfortunately, you have to go for the top of the spec GT Line S to even opt for that, and it's £900 extra, which is a little bit unfortunate, especially because even some more budget-friendly cars like the fun Renault 5 has it as standard. If you want to watch my full video on the Renault 5, you can click up there. Real world, I'm getting more about 300 miles, which is still really impressive. If you're flooring it everywhere, you're not going to get as good mile per kilowatt. You'll probably get about around the 3 miles per kilowatt, especially at the higher speeds. But if you're driving really nicely though, you can do very well. You can get 5.5, 6 miles per kilowatt hour if you drive very carefully around town. So that goes to show town range can be upwards of 400 miles in the real world if you're careful, which is great. The charge port on the EV3 is based on the front driver's wing. You can fast charge it. 10 to 80% on both models can be done in around 30 minutes, 29 minutes on the 58 kilowatt hour model and 31 minutes on this bigger 81 kilowatt hour model, which is excellent. So that 20 to 80% band, it can do really quite fast. It's when you get past that mark, get to the 80 to 100, where the charging slows down quite a bit, especially when you compare it to the 800 volt architecture that you get on the higher end Hyundai and Kia Group products. And whilst we're on the topic of charging, the EV3 comes with something that we're not seeing on many electric cars as of yet. This is the vehicle to load. So all EV3s come with this as standard. So this plugs in here. And then basically what you're able to do, there we go, is have a 3-pin plug outside the EV3. So you can basically charge things off here. If you're camping, it's quite useful. And you'll also find another 3-pin plug by the back seats as well. What I really like about the Hyundai and Kia Group vehicles is their regen braking and I-pedal. So I'm coming up to 30 now. I just lift off the accelerator and the car slows right down to what I need it to do. You can also hold down this pedal and have it on auto, or hold it on the other one and have it on I-pedal. You can also reduce the amount of regen but keep I-pedal on. So this system basically gives you the most control of regen of pretty much any car I've driven. They are excellent. Most cars might give you a B mode, or if that, some don't even give you that. But most cars will have a normal drive mode and a B mode, but not always available to change the levels of it. It's so nice to have that regen because you can just come off the accelerator and it'll just slow down. Then back into town, not even using my brake, literally just come off the accelerator again, not using my brake, just coming off the accelerator, and the car can come to a complete halt. You can change the regen though, so it's got I-pedal on level 3, which is the max one, but you can have it on I-pedal 0 if you want, or I-pedal 1, 2 or 3, or you can hold this down and it'll go to auto, and that'll just scan the car in front and slow down where it needs to. The system generally works quite well, especially if you prefer to coast and let the car roll with its momentum. It's got the blind spot monitoring cameras as well on the GT Line S model, which we're in, which is really good. You've got all the bells and whistles on this vehicle. It does come at a higher cost. You're paying nearly £4,000 more than a GT Line model, but I think this makes sense for people downsizing from a more premium brand that wants all the bells and whistles. They don't have to compromise too much on their vehicle, which is always great. It's nice and quiet. It drives nice. Suspension's nice and smooth as well. It's not as kind of floaty feeling as what you get on the Volkswagen ID vehicles, which can feel a bit like wobbly. Visibility is pretty good. These pillars are a bit chunky, but not too bad. It's just at the bottom really. So you get a good view out. The back window's a little small, but it's not awful. There is a weird rattle. I've not heard anyone else complain about a rattle, so hopefully it's just this car. And of course, with that 7-year warranty, you're covered with things like that. I think it is actually the inside of the heads-up display. I don't know, it's some sort of rattle. So coming up to national speed limit now. Let's go. Whee! That's 60. Yeah, that feels way fast enough for me. I really like that. Whoa, this is like a roller coaster, this road. That's fun. Acceleration's good. If you want to kick it down, you can get a lot of power out of the vehicle. As I say, 201 brake horsepower is plenty enough. So we're going on to the dual carriageway now, so can go up to 70, which is good. See what the noise is like. It's pretty quiet, to be fair. It does have the sound isolating tyres as well. We've got auto hold as well, which is great, and you don't have to turn it on every time either, so that's good. Acceleration's good to get onto the motorway. Perfect, that feels really smooth, really fast. I've got no issues with that at all. We do get a bit of wind noise from the door mirrors, but it's pretty settled. You don't get a lot of tyre noise. As I say, they're the sound isolating tyres. You do, of course, still hear the road, but it's not bad. And of course, when you got your tunes on through the Harman Kardon sound system on GT Line S, you don't hear much at all, which is really good. Accelerator pedal as well gives you such a smooth feel, quite progressive, as does the brakes. The physical brakes are great, but again, you'd hardly ever use those. Got it in full I-pedal strength. Sometimes you still do need to use the brake if you want to slow down quite rapidly, but mostly if you can anticipate you need to slow down, you can come off the accelerator and the car will slow down all the way to a stop, and it will hold the car for you. So it's really, really clever, and that means town driving is super easy as well. So it's just really relaxing to drive, because start-stop traffic, most of it's just one pedal driving. You rarely need to use your brake if you don't want to. If you want to drive it like a normal car, that's fine too, you can do so. One thing I will say is that when you're in eco mode with the full iPedal on, is the accelerator does become a little bit heavier. This was the same with the Genesis, so it's kind of just the same in the whole group. And that means if you do need to accelerate for a long time and keep your foot on the accelerator, it can be a bit fatiguing over a longer period of time, unfortunately. However, you've got great cruise control, so that helps. It's nice and refined as well at those higher speeds, which is good, so better than the cars in the class below. So it's going to be better on the motorway than a Renault 5, for example. Of course, I know it's a lot more expensive. It's a good size as well, feels bigger than it is, smaller than an L-Rock, it's smaller than a Ford Explorer, it's smaller than the ID4, it's a bit bigger than an ID3, and it's a bit bigger than a Volvo EX30. So it's quite a sweet spot really. The space it offers inside is great for families as well, while still being manageable for tighter spaces, town parking, etc. Yet front and rear sensors and a rear camera are standard anyway, so parking's easy in that way. And then if you go up to this GT Line S, that gives you 360 camera, so that's even easier. The lane assist can be a bit funny though, and it flashes when it's like not quite right. Like this, it doesn't like it and it can wobble a bit, the steering. You can turn it off just by holding down the lane assist button here and waiting for it to go amber, and that means it's off temporarily. Also, when you put it in park, the handbrake comes on, or if you just turn it off, the handbrake comes on and puts it in park. So really quite easy in that aspect as well. On the GT Line S model, you do get one of my favourite features as well, which is the remote smart parking assist. So lock the car, then you hold down the start button, which is this one at the top, and the car should start. There we go. And now you're able to move it forward or backwards with the key. So if you're in a really tight space and you can't get in, you could just move it forwards. I mean, that is a really good feature, and then you can even go backwards as well. It thinks about it, it takes a while, but I think it's a really cool feature. Go, just like having a massive remote control car. The Genesis products had it as well, and then you're able to get out of that tight space like so and just jump in the car. Pretty cool, and definitely a cool party trick as well. So because this is the GT Line S, you do get the electric tailgate. This is the only model with it. However, Kia tailgates are normally quite light and they have this handle anyway on all models, so they are easy to shut, so that's not too bad. Let's take a closer look. Pretty decent boot. From the outside, it looks like it might be quite small, like a Volvo EX30, but no, you'll be pleased to find 460 litres of storage space here. That's 10 litres bigger than a Ford Explorer, which is quite a bigger vehicle outside, so that's really impressive. It's not quite as big as the Ford Puma Jenny, which I will be reviewing soon, but it's bigger than the Citroen EC4, the Peugeot E2008, the Volkswagen ID3, the Omoda E5, and so many other competitors. 460 litres is a really decent size space to the load cover, which is excellent. And for some reason they mount the load cover very low. They did it in the Genesis products as well, when really it could be a couple of inches higher really. It's quite low down, but it is nice. You've got this load cover section here. That's not bad at all. Personally, I do quite like the fabric integrated parcel shelves, like what they have on Kia's own Nero. I do like that, but this is not bad at all. Easy to remove as well, just to take out. You have a nice flat low floor, which is good, and then this does come up and you've got loads of space underneath there. Or you can, of course, drop the boot floor lower should you wish. No spare wheel, but that's the thing of the past now. Let's have a little look under the bonnet now. There we go, it's on hydraulics, which is really nice. So everything is really lovely and neat at the front of the vehicle, which is nice. So that reminds me of the Honda ENY1 in that sense, that everything's covered over nicely. However, that car doesn't have what this has got, a fruit. So you've got 25 litres of additional storage space in here, perfect for your cable, because you can just dedicate it to your cable and then have the boot free for whatever and not get stuck under the boot floor. This is really practical, and then you're easily able to top up your washer fluid just there. Your 12-volt battery is also under the bonnet, which is the best place for it to be in my opinion. And let's sit in the back of the EV3. Comfortable. This is my driving position. Not a massive amount of knee room. If you're over 6 foot, you're gonna struggle a bit, and it's hard plastic, so you can't like push your knees into the back of the seat really. You've got a nice fabric covering, but this is not on the Air model, it's just fully plastic, so it'll feel a bit more cheap in that vehicle. Not a massive amount of headroom. There's enough for me. I'm 5'8", so that's not bad. Other models have got more space in the back. So Ford Explorer definitely gives you more space. You got your center armrest with 2 cup holders. Very good quality, very comfortable. I really like that. It's not quite as swish as what you get in the Scenic with all the phone holders and all sorts of stuff, but it's perfectly adequate and really good quality. So I really like that. Isofix points are nicely hidden, but still easily accessible, if that makes sense. So that's great. And you still get the nice premium feeling materials in the back as you do in the front, which is also really nice to see. You've got climate coming through to the back as well, just the same fans, and then you've got USB-C on the side of each seat as well, and a little bit of storage just under there. You've also got a pocket on the back of each seat, so that's good. This GT Line S model also gives you heated rear outer seats, which is nice, with 3 levels of heating, which is excellent, and also your windows, well, they go down all the way, which is great. You do have a dark headlining on GT Line and GT Line S. However, on this GT Line S, you get some of the light from the front, so it doesn't feel too dark in here. I've not sat in one without the sunroof, so I couldn't comment on that. Middle seat, let's see how that is. Well, the floor's completely flat, as this is a ground-up built EV. Back is a bit firm, but the seat is not too bad at all, so that's not bad. So then, what are my overall thoughts on the EV3? Well, I'd be lying if I said I'm not going to miss this car. I've really enjoyed my week with this vehicle, so a huge thanks to Kia UK for making it possible. No, it's not perfect. Some things could be better, like the screen facing away from the driver. That's a bit annoying. Charging from 80 to 100% on a fast charger isn't exactly fast, and there's a slight creaking noise, but I think that was just this particular vehicle. Other than that though, realistically over 300-mile range. It looks fantastic. It's comfortable inside. Regen braking is amazing. You have every single level you could wish of with that. It drives nicely. It's efficient, safe, technologically great. It's got loads of equipment, especially on this GT Line S model. And honestly, it's just almost the perfect package. I think I might struggle giving this one back on Wednesday, that's for sure. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you in the next review.